India's war on corruption. 7 stakeholders and 1 prize. The first battle of Lokpal. It's a war between transparency and corruption. It's a fight between change versus status quo. It's a war for control of India, its people and its wealth. The Lokpal battle is only the first battle against corruption. It is the beginning of a long-drawn war, 7 stakeholders and 1 invaluable prize. Our future. The first stakeholder is the UPA government. It is headed by the Sonia Manmohan duo. Their motto is, don't rock the boat at any cost. Bring change but at an hourglass pace. For the UPA top duo, coalition stability is the most important. The driving force, however, behind the UPA government is the Rahul Digvijay duo. They say we are the best. They believe they are wise and dynamic, much like Sarkozy or Putin. Opposition ruled states like UP and Jharkhand is their Libya or Chechnya. The duo love to play both the messiah and the devil. Winning at any cost is their goal. Behind them is the official collectors of the UPA, Power, Karunanidhi and Dixit. They claim their authority as the elected money managers. This trioca are the trusted franchisee, the source of fund flow, and they donate to the party heavily. They say corruption talk is all crap, besides we all wear white. They control the last mile of the delivery chain at Mumbai, Chennai and Delhi. They generate the maximum political funds for the UPA. They say, let us be as we are. If we are down, the UPA powerhouse will crumble. The fourth group in the UPA is the Antony Manishankar duo. They feel it's time for change. Nobody can stop it. The second stakeholder in the power struggle is the opposition parties. They feel only the UPA needs the change, not them. The NDA have no alternative model of the transparent shadow government, though they have relatively clean and transparent governments in both Bihar and in Gujarat. The NDA delayed and deterred in ushering transparent change in Karnataka. They lost a great opportunity to showcase itself. The communist parties are no different. They feel they too have their own compulsions. Their Politburo and their ideology, which they claim is sacrosanct. Even after a stunning electoral drubbing, they are sure they don't want change. After all, we remain the losers with both UPA or BJP in power. So why bother? The people are confused. Will NDA be better than the UPA? Will they be more corrupted, or will they be committed to root out corruption? The third stakeholder is the judiciary. They are very slow, but they are sure-footed. They normally uphold the constitution and probity in public life. For them, justice is the greater good of the people, even if it borders on adhocism. The fourth stakeholder is the administrative machinery. This consists of the bureaucrats, the police, the CBI, the excise department, the income tax department, the sale tax department, the rural and the urban administrative services. They are the kingmakers. Whoever governs the nation, the power to suck the spoils like the giant vampire squid lies with them. They source the rivulets of corruption funds due to the license permit Raj. When this forms the river, the politicians dam and barrage the same and divert it for their own use. They resist change because transparency curtails bureaucracy and power. Secure in their jobs, these government employees always love status quo. But there are exceptions to the rule. More and more whistleblowers are emerging from the administrative machinery every day. The fifth stakeholder is the civil society and the media. They are the drivers of the change. Few are impatient and want utopia. Others, like Anna Hazare, are relentless negotiators. They have taken the battle of the Lokpal out of New Delhi, where the police could beat them into submission, to the remote towns and villages of the nation. Getting their support base from those areas, they came back to New Delhi to negotiate with the government. For it is the rural masses who are hit by corruption most. So they are being first told of how and why they are missing out. Involving them makes the Anna group a sure shot winner. The traditional media and internet have always been at the forefront of the transparency movement, along with the radio and the TV channels and the newspapers. They have taken the transparency movement out of the closets and fired the minds and hearts of the people. The 2G scam, the CWG, the Adarsh housing scam, the aviation licensing, the list of scams is endless. The media has piled up pressure on the government and opened up the can of worms. Industry and business is the sixth stakeholder in this war of corruption. Business as usual is the prime cause of corruption. Industry and business are usually perceived as bribe givers, but most hate giving bribes. They are reluctant accomplice to the license permit Raj. Most accept it as a cost. Some encourage and abet corruption to ensure business as usual. But there is a huge segment of corrupt land-based business who have thrived on shady deal making. They are the reason why India has so expensive land, though it is largely undeveloped. Politicians draw sustenance from most real estate based biz. Urbanization project, mining, oil and gas exploration are hotspots of corruption. Business as usual benefits executives more than investors. So it's a Hobson's choice for investors who want clean governance and transparent environment. The success of Hong Kong, Singapore and Gujarat in wooing global investors show that investment flocks to the areas where corruption is under control. The seventh stakeholder in the war of corruption, and the most important, is the people. Now that they are aroused by Anna Hazare, they will always question. Though they vote only once in 5 years, they will now monitor 24/7. Fortunately, the biggest supporter of transparency and change is the youth, mainly because they lose most opportunities to grow in its absence. The youth are not ready to give up this war against corruption, for transparency has fired up their imagination and winds of change has fanned the fire to a flashpoint. The people are distressed, angry, but they didn't know what to do. Most people had the sinking feeling that the India government and Reserve Bank are losing control on the economy because they just can't plug the leaks. Though interest rates have been revised several times to curb inflation, but to no avail. The people are feeling that the brunt of price rise is to be borne because of rampant corruption. Plugging the leaks is key to containing inflation and price rise. This cannot be done without weeding out corruption from the delivery cycle of public funds. So inflation will stay high as long as corruption is around. Despite the Reserve Bank initiatives, people will be distressed and the economy will bleed due to corruption. Cash subsidy or food security will fail to deliver because of the corrupt delivery system. So the people's war on corruption had to begin. Lokpal is just the first battle, Anna is just the first soldier. The people will fight their own war on corruption, even if it is against their own elected government. For the people's discontent needs to be addressed. For that, a comprehensive and focused corruption bill was one of the measures needed. But the bill tabled by the UPA was an itsy-bitsy bill that barely covered. So the war on corruption moved out from the streets of Delhi to the lanes of India's towns and villages. Everybody protested. The battle started with the Lokpal bill and now will be expanded into an all-out war on corruption. The Lokpal is an ombudsman of the people to oversee the administrative process. It must oversee all those involved in the decision making without exclusions. It must track the route map of public fund flow and protect it from corruption. The taxpayers' money must be protected. Everyone from the Prime Minister to the village BDO and Patwari in the administrative chain of decision making must be accountable and within the ambit of the Lokpal. People won't give up the Lokpal easily because now they know its use. If the current government fails to make the Lokpal comprehensive, the next will. So, despite its parliamentary majority, the UPA will ultimately lose the Lokpal war. And people will remember that they fought against a corrupt UPA regime for years for their own future and freedom. The first battle of Lokpal will be yet another blot on democracy where people are at war against an elected government that turned despot. And the first battle of Lokpal will be a turning point in the history of India's democracy.